Lots of videos out there on how to make sourdough bread. Here's my take on it. This weekend when I go to Ardmore, I'm going to start looking for another jar. This one has worked. Right now, there's plenty of sourdough. I have enjoyed myself so much. I make bread and then I just put it in the freezer. I've made cinnamon rolls. I've made cheesy Parmesan rolls. I make pancakes in the morning for breakfast, and I just keep this going. So I'm just gonna feed it and stick it in the fridge. So let's do that. I am not a measuring person. Talk to my daughter. She will tell you. I do not measure stuff. Rarely do I measure stuff. All right. Getting ready to make my life easier here. Why fight it, right? Why fight it? Okay, here we go. Plenty. This is water that doesn't have chlorine in it. I wish I had a water well that just came out of the ground. I don't. One thing I found with my sourdough, if I just put flour and water in there and stir it up, sometimes it'll just stay like that. But if I take a second and stir it and marry the water and the flour together, I'm going to add one more little tablespoon of flour in there. Let me grab a spoon. Whoops, fork. All right. All right, here we go. If I blend these together and marry them together, my dough is so much nicer than just putting it in there. Oh, yeah, here we go. When I go to make my bread and stuff, everything's so much happier when I put a little bit of love in the stir. Yeah, okay. There, that's what I want. Okay, this is going in the fridge. It's fed. It's going in the fridge. And then when I pull it out, and I'll let it sit on the counter and warm up a little bit before I use it, it is so happy. Okay, here we go. I found this cool jar to put my sourdough in. So let's get this thing washed up and then we'll switch the sourdough over. Like that, it's got a ring. Nice. Ooh, I don't like those stickers. I'm very excited to, I love this little jar. I got it at a Walmart, and this little lid comes with it, and it says ball on the lid, and then it's got this little seal in there. I just think that's gonna be great. All right, this sourdough, I fed it 3 days ago, and then I went to my mom's and I just put it in the fridge. And when I got home from being just put this it smells sweet. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Looks like the opening's a little bit wider than this jar. Let's see how. Nice. I love it. I want to make some bread. Of course, it's going to be sourdough, and I also have to work tomorrow. So I'm going to get this together and let it ferment overnight, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge, and then when I get home tomorrow, I'm going to bake it. I'm just going to put in, I don't know, what is that? Maybe a cup of water. I had to buy water in a jug because they put fluoride and, of course, probably chlorine or some other germ killer in the water here in my city. So I got spring water. And I'm going to put my sourdough in. It's really bubbly and yummy. And that's probably a whole cup. I put this back in the fridge. All right. Stir this. I like my sourdough bread. Like, I do love the artisan loaves, but I like regular, just plain old sourdough to be soft and like a sandwich loaf. That's more how I like to eat it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put everything in here. I'm going to put some salt in. That's probably a whole tablespoon. A whole tablespoon, 1 loaf. That might be a little bit much. I'm going to come back a little bit on that. All right. So, a teaspoon and a bit. A teaspoon and a bit. Put that in there. Honey. That's probably 2 good tablespoons. Let's see, we need some oil. What kind of oil are we going to use? I had coconut oil and it was melted, and I stuck it in the fridge. We're just going to do olive oil. 1, 2 2 pours of olive oil. I think I'm going to put my wheat flour in first. I like to mix my flours. I like to do some white and some wheat. This is Prairie Gold. I just get it at Walmart. 100% whole wheat. And I'm just going to put this in there. I don't know how much that is. You know how I am. I don't measure. I'm guessing that's probably 2 cups. I'm going to do one more. 3 cups. We're just going to mix this up. So, the one thing about sourdough bread, or making bread in general, is if you make it enough times, you don't really need to measure because you know what the consistency is supposed to be. Alright, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to add my white flour to it. Let me find something to cover this. Okay, it's been sitting a bit. Yeah. Wish I had my little bread mixer. I mean, it is nice to knead bread, you know, by hand and get the feel of the dough and all that kind of stuff. But it's also nice to just put it in the mixer and just turn on the machine and just, you know, let it go. Come back 10 minutes later or whatever and you're all good to go. My sourdough looked really good this time. I was really happy with it. You know, I made that sourdough start all by myself. I didn't get a start from... Last time I did sourdough, I got a start from somebody. Good friend of mine, Scott Porter. He's since passed away. But he... gave me a start from the San Francisco. I think he had one from Paris too. Can't remember. He was so into that stuff. But anyways, I didn't have one here, so I just decided to make my own. And it was fine. It did good. Wow, this is feeling great, actually. I think that's about all the flour I'm going to put in there. I'm just going to finish kneading this in, then we're going to let it ferment. So I work a lot of hours. Still feels really sticky. I work a lot of hours. I work 10 hours a day right now. and doing a baking project is pretty much almost impossible, but sourdough is so forgiving. If I was doing like a yeast, I don't know if I'd be able to do this. But where I'm doing sourdough, I can put it in the fridge. I can put it in the fridge and slow down the process. All right, I'm gonna just leave it. Let me grab some more oil here. I always gotta spank it. Gotta spank the dough. Oh my goodness. When I went to bed, this was clear down to here. I think it's ready to bake.
To speak to me about what I was going to do in the future, that I was going to be released from prison, and that I would be a preach the gospel around the world, and that I was going to train people in churches. But as he moved his hand, when he began to speak, someone to go get breakfast, and all of his belongings were gone. His bags were packed, everything was gone, no clothes, anything. I went to the prison guards, who normally I have, well, maybe he got deported. Okay, well, he got deported. Well, 2 months later, I went to the parole board out of 105 men.
Oh, wow. That is really nice. I did good. The reason I'm cutting this whole loaf of bread, I'm always on the go because of my work. And so I actually put my bread in a container and stick it in the freezer. And then I just grab out a piece every day or whatever I need out of the container. And then that way the bread doesn't go bad. Because, I mean, there's no way I could eat all of this in, 4 days or whatever. It takes me a while to eat all of this much bread. Ooh, I want the hill. I'm going to put these in a zippy bag. They're not going to fit. I'll stick this in the freezer. Bacon. I pre-cook bacon and stick it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator. And then when I'm cooking breakfast and I'm in a hurry, I don't have to wait for bacon to cook. I just pull it out and throw it in the pan and it warms right up. So tender and soft. I am going to go to my mom's for a couple of days, so I think I'll just take these two with me. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's going to fit. Yes. Nice. Okay. We'll be set. For the road. Doesn't take very long for those to warm up, and they're done. Hey guys, I just feel like I needed to document this day. I just want to talk about consequences. Consequences can be good and they can be bad. When you make decisions or choices in your life, you get consequences. I got a call from a friend. She needed some help. It was late at night. I had my elbows up into bread dough and I had to work the next day. But I hadn't seen her forever and I know she needed help. I could tell in her voice that she needed help. So I set everything aside and I went. I drove like an hour to an emergency room where we spent some time. And then we got in my car to take her home. I told her, look, I have to work. You know, I can't take you all the way home. You know, find somebody that can help you and I'll meet him halfway. And I know she probably called everybody she could think of and there wasn't anybody that was willing to come and get her. You know, if the price was right, they'd come and get her, but they weren't just gonna come get her. So I ended up having to take her, you know, several hours and then several hours home. One of the things that hit me the hardest, I hadn't seen her in a long time and she'd really changed a lot. Consequences of actions. As soon as she got in the car, she was like, can we have a prayer? Should we say a prayer before we leave? And I'm like, sure, yeah. And in our past history together, that was how we knew each other. And so in my heart, or in my mind, I should say, I felt like, you know, she was just trying to connect the past with the present, you know, with the things that we were connected together with each other. And she closed her eyes and she started to pray. And she prayed for all the proper things, you know, safety and gratitude. And then I think what hit me the hardest was how she talked to our Father. And she was telling him how much she trusted him and how much she loved him. I've never heard anybody pray like that before. I mean, I've heard the words, but I never felt the feelings until last night. Consequences could be good and they can be bad. We get to make the choices. Consequences we don't get to choose. After that prayer, we went for food. We tried to get prescriptions. I drove her all the way and I was up all night. My heart is full. I'm exhausted. I'm sad. I'm amazed. I'm ashamed. I've never prayed like that before. I mean, I've had wants and needs, and I've prayed for guidance, and I've prayed for, you know, safety and help, and I've prayed to show my gratitude, but the feeling, I love this person so much, and I want her to be happy. I want her to be safe. I want her to make right choices, but you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. A couple of days ago, I was scrolling on the internet, just scrolling, and I saw this picture, and it had this caption on it, and it was a little racy. And then I started thinking about all these young men and young women that are growing up now, and they're on the internet and they're looking at all of this stuff. And I thought, man, I wonder what this video is about. And then I remember something that I used to tell my son every single day. When you see something like that, just stop looking. Don't look. Turn your head away. If you need help getting the page changed so you don't see it, once you see it, it's embedded in your mind. I remember telling him that over and over and over again. It's one of the parenting tricks that I tried to instill in him as a young man, you know, trying to grow up in this world with all of this electronics and all this stuff. And I almost clicked on it, almost. And then I remembered my words that I spoke out of my own mouth, to just look away. Don't do it. And so I just moved on, and I'm so grateful that I moved on. Consequences. We can choose all day long, but we don't get to choose our consequences. I'm telling you, you need to be strong. Be stronger than you've ever been. I know this is pretty sad and pretty deep for a sourdough video. I'm going to click them together. I'm going to link them together. This channel's all about me and the things that I learn and the things that I go through and the things that I think are important. I think this is super important. Super important. I'm speaking to my family right now, my grandchildren, my children. You get to choose every single day, but what you don't get to choose are your consequences. You need to think about that. My grandbabies, you don't get to choose your consequences. You need to choose good. Be kind, loving, thoughtful, honest, have integrity. When you speak words out of your mouth, speak them in honesty. Don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat. You need to have foundations of religion. I'm not talking about any specific religion. I'm not talking about Catholic, Mormon, Baptist, you know, all of the things. I'm not talking about that type of religion. I'm talking about a connection with God, the person that created you. I'm talking about that person. All right. I feel like I'm rambling on, and nobody likes to be preached to. It's just in my heart right now. I'm just so... I see differently now.